The serene Harmony approached Earth's moon with all the confidence of a species that had done this many times before. Captain Veltar had been chosen for this mission because of his perfect record with first contact situations. He knew exactly how these meetings went, and he expected the humans to follow the same pattern as every other primitive species the Council had encountered. His bridge crew prepared the standard first contact protocols as their ship moved through space toward the small gray moon. The Universal Peace Accord would be broadcast on all frequencies, so the humans could understand that the aliens came in friendship. Advanced holographic displays would demonstrate the superior technology of galactic civilization and show the humans how much they could learn if they agreed to join the Council as junior members. Veltar sat in his command chair and reviewed the data about human civilization that the observation teams had collected over 3 centuries. The report showed a violent species that fought constant wars among themselves using primitive weapons. Their technology was crude and their social development was far behind every other species that had achieved spaceflight. This should be the easiest first contact mission of his career. The ship's communications officer began broadcasting the peace messages while the navigation team guided them toward the lunar surface, where they planned to land and wait for human representatives to arrive. Every first contact followed this same script, and Veltar had no reason to expect anything different from the humans, despite their reputation for aggression and violence. Chief Navigation Officer Zarin was studying his instrument panel when the first energy signatures appeared on his sensors. The readings showed weapon systems powering up all across the lunar surface, but the energy levels were impossible for a primitive species to generate. His instruments had to be malfunctioning because no species developed this kind of technology until they had been in space for thousands of years. Zarin reported his readings to Captain Veltar, but before the captain could respond, space around the serene Harmony suddenly filled with weapons fire unlike anything in recorded galactic history. Magnetic accelerator cannons fired tungsten projectiles at speeds that approached the speed of light, and these metal spears punched through alien energy shields like they were made of paper instead of pure energy. Plasma lance batteries created beams of concentrated stellar fire that could melt through the hull of any known spacecraft, while gravity well generators warped space itself and created crushing forces that could flatten entire ships. The alien vessel found itself caught in a crossfire of weapons that should not have existed, and technology that violated several known laws of physics. Veltar shouted orders for evasive maneuvers, but his ship was already trapped by human tractor beams that used principles the aliens had never encountered. The weapons fire was precise and calculated to disable rather than destroy. Every shot hit exactly where the humans intended, and the serene Harmony lost its weapons and engines without a single crew member being killed. On Luna Base, Colonel Steve Murphy watched the engagement through tactical displays that showed every detail of the brief battle. Human weapon systems had performed exactly as designed, and the alien ship was now helpless and ready for capture. Dr. Carter's diplomatic team was standing by to meet their unwelcome guests and explain the new reality of human space superiority. The serene Harmony was pulled toward the moon's surface by tractor beams that the alien crew could not understand or resist. As they approached the human base, Veltar stared in shock at installations that bristled with enough weapons to level entire continents. Hidden launch bays opened to reveal fighter craft with designs that looked like nothing in the galactic databases. Underground, facilities that stretched for miles beneath the lunar surface housed weapons manufacturing plants that could produce enough armaments to supply a major war. The humans had turned their moon into a fortress that could hold off the combined fleets of multiple galactic empires, and they had done it all while the Council watched and assumed they were still a primitive species. Dr. Carter waited in the docking bay as the alien ship was brought inside the human base and secured with restraining fields that prevented any possibility of escape. She had been looking forward to this moment for decades, and she was eager to show their visitors just how much humanity had learned from studying alien technology. The crashed ship from Nevada had been very educational. The aliens who emerged from their disabled vessel moved with the uncertain steps of beings whose entire understanding of the universe had just been shattered. They had expected to find primitive humans who would be grateful for the chance to join galactic civilization. Instead, they found themselves prisoners of a species that possessed weapons technology far beyond anything the galaxy had ever seen. Veltar and his senior officers were escorted through corridors lined with displays showing human military capabilities. Weapons systems that could crack planets hung in orbital platforms around Earth, while fleets of warships hidden in the asteroid belt conducted training exercises with live ammunition. The scale of human military preparation was staggering and completely hidden from galactic observation. The conference room where the aliens were taken contained holographic projectors that showed real-time images of human forces throughout the solar system. Massive construction projects in deep space revealed the true scope of human industrial capacity, while patrol fleets demonstrated maneuvers that would be impossible with known technology. The humans had not just achieved spaceflight, they had revolutionized it. General Hayes entered the room wearing the uniform of the Solar Defense Force and carrying herself with the confidence of someone who knew she held all the advantages. Her presence alone was enough to make the alien delegation understand that they were not dealing with a primitive species that could be easily impressed by superior technology. The humans had superior technology of their own. Dr. Carter activated wall displays that showed detailed schematics of human weapon systems and their performance capabilities. The railguns mounted on Luna Base could fire projectiles with enough kinetic energy to punch holes through the core of a small moon. The plasma cannons drew power directly from fusion reactors that generated more energy than some stars produced naturally. The aliens sat in stunned silence as they realized the magnitude of their miscalculation. Every assumption the Galactic Council had made about human development was wrong. The species they had dismissed as primitive warlike savages had quietly built the most advanced military force the galaxy had ever seen, and they had done it all while being watched by supposedly superior alien observers. Captain Veltar finally found his voice and asked the question that would haunt the Galactic Council for generations to come. How had a species that achieved spaceflight only decades ago managed to develop technology that surpassed civilizations millions of years older than themselves? The answer would reshape everything the galaxy thought it knew about intelligence evolution and the nature of technological progress. The small blue planet turned slowly in the darkness of space while alien eyes watched from distant ships. For 300 years, the Galactic Council had been studying Earth and the strange creatures that lived on its surface. These beings called themselves humans, and they were unlike anything the galaxy had seen before. Ambassador Kethvar stood in the great hall of the council station and looked at the glowing screens that showed Earth cities burning with electric light. His crystal skin reflected the images as he spoke to the gathered representatives of 47 different alien species. The humans had finally developed basic space travel, and this meant the council had to make contact according to their ancient laws. The Vrex delegation sat in their corner of the hall and made clicking sounds with their sharp mandibles. General Thrix was their leader, and he found the human weapons amusing. The displays showed primitive guns that shot metal bullets and bombs that used chemical explosives. To beings who could destroy entire planets with energy weapons, these human tools looked like toys made by children. What the aliens did not know was that Captain Jake Morrison was already tracking their hidden observation posts from his command center on Earth. Deep beneath the surface of the moon, Dr. Lisa Carter worked day and night in a secret facility called Project Prometheus. 50 years ago, a small alien scout ship had crashed in the Nevada desert, and the humans had been studying its technology ever since. Lieutenant Tom Bradley sat at his control station on Orbital Platform Alpha and watched his screens with growing concern. Strange energy signals had appeared at the edge of the solar system weeks ago, and they were just sitting there watching Earth like predators studying their prey. The readings showed multiple large ships hiding behind advanced cloaking technology that barely registered on human sensors. Morrison studied the data reports that Bradley had sent him, and his weathered face showed no emotion. Humanity had been preparing for this day since they first found proof that aliens existed. Secret facilities around the world had been building weapons and defenses that no alien species had ever imagined. The crashed ship from Nevada had given them a starting point, but human engineers had improved on the alien designs in ways that would shock the galaxy. Dr. Carter received Morrison's message while she was testing her latest creation in the underground labs beneath Luna Base. The weapon she had built could punch holes through the strongest alien ship hulls, and she had been waiting for permission to show the galaxy what humans could really do. Her team had worked for decades to reverse engineer alien technology, and then make it better, faster, and more deadly than the original designers ever intended. The Mars defense grid came online as Morrison gave the activation order. Hidden weapons platforms that had been disguised as mining equipment suddenly revealed their true purpose. Massive railguns that could fire projectiles at incredible speeds emerged from underground bunkers, while energy cannons powered up and locked onto the alien ships lurking at the system's edge. General Patricia Hayes commanded the Solar Defense Force from her headquarters deep inside an asteroid that had been hollowed out and turned into a fortress. Her screen showed the positions of every alien vessel within 100 million miles of Earth, and she smiled as she watched the hidden human fleet move into attack positions. The aliens thought they were observing primitive savages, but they were about to learn that humanity had been preparing for war since the day they first looked up at the stars. The Galactic Council had performed first contact procedures hundreds of times with dozens of different species. The process was always the same. They would approach the primitive world with their advanced ships and demonstrate their superior technology. The new species would be amazed and grateful to join the galactic community as junior members who would spend centuries learning from their wise alien teachers. Captain Veltar of the Altarian Republic commanded the first contact ship Serene. Harmony, and he had overseen 17 peaceful meetings with new species during his long career. He expected the humans to react the same way all the others had. They would see the alien ships and realize how small and weak they were compared to the great galactic civilization that waited beyond their tiny solar system. The Serene Harmony moved toward Earth's moon while broadcasting messages of peace and friendship on all frequencies. Veltar sat in his command chair and felt confident that this would be another routine first contact mission. The humans would be invited to join the Council as the newest and most primitive member species, and they would gratefully accept the guidance of their more advanced alien neighbors. Chief Navigation Officer Zarin was the first to notice that something was wrong. His instruments detected massive energy buildups on the lunar surface, and the power readings were far beyond anything a primitive species should possess. The weapons signatures that appeared on his screens were unlike anything in the galactic databases, and the energy output levels were theoretically impossible for a species that had just developed basic rocket technology. Morrison watched the alien ship approach from his command bunker and gave the order that would change galactic history forever. Human weapons systems that had been hidden for decades suddenly came online, and space around the alien vessel erupted in a display of firepower that defied everything the galaxy thought it knew about warfare. The demonstration was about to begin, and the aliens were going to learn that humanity was not another primitive species waiting to be enlightened. The galaxy had been watching Earth and waiting for the right moment to make contact. What they did not realize was that Earth had been watching them back and preparing for this moment with the deadly efficiency that had made humans the dominant predators on their homeworld. The first contact was about to become a very different kind of meeting than anyone in the Galactic Council had expected. The sterile white conference room in Luna Base became the stage for a demonstration that would terrify the galaxy for centuries to come. Dr. Carter stood before the captured alien delegation and activated holographic displays that showed what she casually called the basic overview of human defensive capabilities. The images that appeared in the air above the table violated everything the aliens thought they knew about technological development. Ambassador Kethvar watched in growing horror as the first display materialized, showing a massive warship that dwarfed anything in the galactic fleet databases. Dr. Carter explained that this was the Ragnarok-class dreadnought, and humanity had built 12 of them in secret shipyards hidden throughout the asteroid belt. Each ship carried enough firepower to crack a moon in half, and they used fusion engines that could accelerate the massive vessels to speeds that should have been impossible. The next hologram showed sleek fighter craft that looked like metal angels of death against the black of space. Carter described them as Valkyrie-class fighters and explained that they used miniaturized black hole engines for propulsion while carrying antimatter torpedoes that could destroy entire space stations with a single hit. The technology required to create stable microscopic black holes was supposedly beyond any species in the galaxy. General Thrix of the Vrex delegation tried to speak, but his mandibles clicked helplessly as he stared at weapons that made his own species look like children, playing with sticks. His people had conquered 12 star systems using what they considered advanced military technology, but these human weapons could have wiped out the entire Vrex Empire in a matter of days. Captain Veltar finally managed to find his voice and demanded to know how this was possible. His species had been traveling between stars for 50,000 years, and they had never developed anything close to what the humans were showing them. Dr. Carter smiled and explained that humans were very fast learners, especially when they discovered they were not alone in the universe. The crashed alien ship from Nevada had provided an excellent starting point. General Patricia Hayes entered the room and took her place at the head of the conference table with the calm confidence of someone who commanded the most powerful military force in known space. Her uniform bore the insignia of the Solar Defense Force, and her presence alone was enough to make the alien delegates understand that they were completely outmatched. She activated another set of displays that showed Earth's extensive defensive network. Orbital weapons platforms surrounded the planet like a deadly metal shell, while asteroid mining facilities had been converted into mobile fortresses that could move anywhere in the solar system within hours. The scope of human military preparation was beyond anything the galaxy had imagined possible for such a young spacefaring species. Every piece of space debris larger than a car had been turned into either a weapon or a sensor platform. The centerpiece of human defensive strategy was something Hayes called Sol Station, which appeared on the displays as a massive ring structure being built around the sun itself. The aliens recognized it immediately as a Dyson sphere framework, but the humans had weaponized it in ways that defied imagination. The entire structure was designed to focus the sun's energy into a beam that could destroy entire star systems. From across the galaxy, Veltar protested that Dyson weapons were forbidden by galactic law because they could destabilize entire regions of space. Hayes replied that humans had never agreed to follow galactic law, and they preferred to make their own rules. The Sol Station represented the ultimate expression of human strategic thinking, which was to build weapons capable of destroying any possible threat before it could become dangerous. Dr. Carter continued her presentation by showing footage of human soldiers in powered armor that made them look like walking tanks. These suits allowed individual humans to survive in the vacuum of space while carrying personal weapons that could punch holes through spacecraft hulls. The armor incorporated alien technology that had been improved and enhanced beyond anything the original designers had imagined possible. The tactical displays showed human strike teams conducting training exercises on captured alien vessels, and the results were devastating. Human soldiers could board and capture enemy ships in minutes, using weapons and tactics that no galactic military had ever encountered. Their armor provided complete protection against standard alien weapons, while their own guns could cut through alien hull materials like hot knives through butter. What truly horrified the alien delegation was not just the raw, destructive power of human technology, but the strategic thinking behind every weapon and defensive system. Humanity had spent decades studying every aspect of galactic civilization and had designed their military forces specifically to counter every known alien advantage. They had not just built better weapons, they had built the perfect weapons to fight a galactic war. The displays showed human research facilities where alien prisoners of war from various species were being studied to understand their weaknesses and develop specific countermeasures. Biological weapons designed to target alien physiology sat in secure storage alongside psychological warfare tools that could drive entire alien populations insane with carefully crafted propaganda broadcasts. Hayes explained that humanity had prepared for every possible scenario, including total galactic war against all 47 council species simultaneously. Human military planners had calculated exactly how many ships and weapons would be needed to defeat the combined alien fleets, and they had built twice that amount just to be safe. Overkill was a fundamental principle of human military doctrine. The final display showed construction projects throughout the solar system, where humans were building even more advanced weapon systems. Wormhole generators that could transport entire fleets instantly across the galaxy sat alongside reality manipulation devices that could rewrite the laws of physics in localized areas. Humanity was not content to match alien technology, they intended to surpass it by orders of magnitude. Dr. Carter closed her presentation by explaining that everything they had seen represented only the defensive capabilities that humans were willing to reveal to potential enemies. The truly advanced weapons remained classified and would only be used if the galaxy forced humanity into a corner. The implication was clear that what they had shown was just the beginning of human military capability. The alien delegates sat in complete silence as they processed the magnitude of what they had witnessed. Every assumption about human development had been shattered and replaced with the terrifying reality that humanity had become the dominant military power in the galaxy, while everyone else was looking the other way. The question now was whether the Galactic Council would accept this new reality or try to fight it. The emergency session of the Galactic Council convened in the Great Chamber aboard the orbital station that had served as the center of galactic government for over 1,000,000 years. Representatives from 47 different species gathered, in panic as news of humanity's impossible military capabilities spread through diplomatic channels like wildfire. The carefully ordered universe they had known for millennia was crumbling before their eyes. High Chancellor Mordun called for order using his ancient telepathic abilities to project calm across the chaotic assembly. His species had helped found the Council when most of the galaxy's current civilizations were still primitive single-celled organisms, and his wisdom had guided galactic policy through countless crises. However, nothing in his vast experience had prepared him for the revelation that a species only decades into space travel had somehow become the galaxy's dominant military power. The hegemony of Kral demanded immediate military action against the human threat. War Marshal Gorth stood before the assembly and slammed his clawed fist against the speaker's podium hard enough to crack the ancient stone. His scaled hide bore scars from hundreds of battles, and his empire controlled 12-star systems through superior military force. He could not accept that primitive humans had developed weapons that made his own fleets look like toys. Gorth's military advisors had analyzed the data from the captured contact ship, and their conclusions were terrifying. Human weapons technology was not just advanced, it was revolutionary in ways that challenged the fundamental understanding of physics and engineering. The humans had taken basic alien technology and improved it beyond recognition, using principles that no galactic scientist had ever considered possible. Dr. Lithera of the Zephyrian Collective rose to speak against any military action, and her harmonious voice carried across the chamber with surprising authority. Her people were renowned throughout the galaxy for their scientific achievements and their detailed study of developing civilizations. She had been monitoring human cultural broadcasts and social development for decades, and her conclusions differed dramatically from the military assessment. The Zephyrian scientist explained that humans had demonstrated remarkable restraint, despite possessing weapons that could have easily destroyed the Serene Harmony and its entire crew. Instead of killing their first alien visitors, the humans had chosen to disable the ship and capture its occupants alive. This suggested that humanity was not interested in conquest or genocide, but rather in establishing their position as equals, rather than subjects. General Thrix of the Vrex interrupted with clicking mandibles and nervous movements that betrayed his species' growing fear. His insectoid features twitched as he pointed out that humans had been preparing for war against species they had never met. The implications were clear that humanity viewed all alien contact as a potential threat, and had built their entire space program around the assumption that first contact would lead to conflict. The debate continued for hours as different factions within the council argued over how to respond to this unprecedented situation. Some species called for immediate preemptive strikes, while others advocated for diplomatic solutions. A few smaller civilizations suggested that the council should simply avoid human space entirely and hope that humanity would remain isolated in their small corner of the galaxy. The discussion was interrupted by an incoming transmission from the Sol system that appeared on the main display screens throughout the chamber. Director Paul Anderson of Earth's newly formed Galactic Relations Department appeared before the assembled aliens with a calm expression that somehow seemed more threatening than any weapon they had seen. His casual demeanor suggested complete confidence in humanity's ability to handle whatever the council might decide to do. Anderson's message was brief and direct. Humanity was aware of the council's emergency session and the debates about possible military action against human space. Earth was prepared to offer an alternative to whatever aggressive response the aliens were considering. The transmission included live footage from across the Sol system, showing the true scope of human military preparation that had been hidden from galactic observation. Massive fleets of human warships conducted combat exercises near Jupiter, while their crews practiced boarding actions and fleet engagement tactics that no alien military had ever encountered. Construction facilities throughout the asteroid belt worked around the clock, building even more advanced weapons systems, while mining operations extracted resources at rates that should have been impossible for such a young civilization. The centerpiece of the human display was Sol Station, which had grown significantly since the initial contact incident. The massive ring structure around the Sun now covered nearly 10% of the star's circumference, and its weapons arrays could target any point in the galaxy with focused solar energy. The station represented the ultimate expression of human engineering and strategic planning. Anderson explained that humanity had spent 50 years preparing for this moment after discovering that they were not alone in the universe. Every aspect of human space development had been focused on building the military capability necessary to defend Earth against potential alien threats. The results spoke for themselves and demonstrated that humans were ready to take their place as equals in galactic civilization. The transmission concluded with an invitation for the Galactic Council to send representatives to a meeting at the edge of the Sol system. Humanity had prepared a special location for these negotiations aboard their newest creation, which Anderson described as a diplomatic facility designed to accommodate representatives from multiple species while demonstrating human technological capabilities. The coordinates provided by Anderson led to a space station the size of a small moon that bristled with enough weapons to hold off the combined fleets of every council member species. The station had appeared seemingly overnight at the designated location, using construction techniques that defied everything the galaxy knew about engineering and manufacturing. It served as both a meeting place and a clear statement of human intentions. High Chancellor Morden called for a recess so that each species could consult with their home governments about how to respond to humanity's offer. The choice was simple but terrifying. The Council could accept humans as equals and negotiate a new galactic order, or they could try to destroy humanity and risk a war that might devastate the entire galaxy. As the alien delegates filed out of the chamber to contact their homeworlds, the weight of the decision pressed down on everyone present. For the first time in galactic history, a single species held enough military power to challenge the established order and force the entire galaxy to accept new terms. The age of peaceful council dominance was ending, and the age of human influence was about to begin. The galaxy had waited 3 centuries for Earth to develop enough to join galactic civilization as a junior partner. Instead, they had created a monster that threatened to reshape the entire political structure of known space. The question now was whether the established powers would accept this new reality or fight against it and risk total destruction in the process. 3 months after the first contact incident, the signing ceremony for the Sol Accords took place aboard Mjolnir Station, in a massive hall that could accommodate representatives from dozens of different species. The space station itself was a marvel of human engineering that served as both a diplomatic complex and a fortress capable of defending against entire enemy fleets. Every alien delegate who attended the ceremony understood that they were witnessing the birth of a new galactic order. Ambassador Karen Foster stood at the central podium reviewing the final treaty terms that would fundamentally reshape galactic politics for millennia to come. As Earth's chief negotiator, she had spent months working with alien diplomats to create a framework that satisfied humanity's demands while giving the existing galactic powers enough face-saving measures to accept their reduced status in the new political structure. The reformed Galactic Alliance would replace the old council system with humanity as a founding member, possessing full voting rights and territorial sovereignty over their rapidly expanding sphere of influence. In exchange for joining the new alliance, Earth agreed to share selected technologies with peaceful species and serve as the primary military force responsible for maintaining galactic security and defending against external threats. General Hayes, watched alien dignitaries tour the weapons displays throughout Mjolnir Station with a mixture of fascination and barely concealed terror. The irony was not lost on her that the galaxy had spent centuries waiting for humanity to develop enough to join their peaceful civilization. Instead, Earth had developed into a military superpower that could dictate terms to every existing galactic empire. The tour route took visitors through halls lined with examples of human weapons technology that demonstrated just how far beyond galactic norms humanity had progressed. Personal armor that could survive direct hits from spacecraft weapons sat alongside handheld energy guns that could punch holes through the hulls of capital ships. The message was clear that humans had revolutionized warfare at every level, from individual combat to fleet engagements. Dr. Carter served as the chief guide for these technology demonstrations, and she took obvious pleasure in explaining how human engineers had improved upon basic alien designs. The key to human success had been understanding that most galactic civilizations developed peacefully over millions of years without the constant warfare that had shaped human technological development. Alien tools were built for exploration and cooperation, while human tools were designed for survival and victory. The hegemony of Kral had been the last major power to sign the Accords after a demonstration of humanity's newest weapon convinced them that cooperation was preferable to extinction. The World Breaker was a planet-killing device that could crack worlds apart from across star systems using focused gravitational waves. War Marshal Gorth now served as humanity's military liaison, helping to integrate human tactical doctrine with existing alien defense strategies. Gorth's warrior pride had been somewhat restored by his realization that humans were not just technologically superior but represented the galaxy's new apex predators. His own species had conquered 12 systems through military might, but they had never faced an enemy that combined human strategic thinking with weapons technology that bordered on magic. Working with human military forces was both humbling and educational. The smaller species that made up the majority of the Old Council had accepted the new order with relief rather than resistance. Many of them had been dominated by larger empires for centuries, and saw humanity as potential protectors who could guarantee their independence. The human military doctrine of overwhelming force applied to defense, rather than conquest, appealed to species that had suffered under aggressive neighbors. Ambassador Kethavar of the Zephyrian Collective stood in the observation deck of Mjolnir Station, watching human patrol fleets conduct training exercises that would have been impossible with conventional technology. His crystalline features reflected the light from the displays as he contemplated the cosmic joke that had caught the entire galaxy off guard. They had assumed intelligence would follow the same peaceful evolutionary path that most species experienced. Dr. Lithara joined Kethavar at the observation window, and her harmonious voice carried notes of what might have been amusement. The real lesson from first contact with humanity was that the galaxy had made fundamental assumptions about how intelligent species develop that were completely wrong. They had never considered that a species might evolve to be both brilliant scientists and terrifyingly effective warriors at the same time. The signing ceremony concluded with representatives from every major galactic power formally accepting the new alliance structure and acknowledging humanity's dominant position in galactic affairs. The age of peaceful exploration guided by ancient council wisdom was officially over. The age of human influence with its emphasis on preparedness and overwhelming defensive capability had begun. Construction continued throughout human space on projects that pushed the boundaries of known science and engineering. Mobile battle stations capable of faster-than-light travel were taking shape in orbital shipyards, while research facilities developed even more advanced weapon systems. Humanity remained true to their nature by preparing for threats that did not yet exist and building defenses against enemies they had never encountered. The galaxy learned to adjust to new realities as human patrol fleets began appearing in previously council-controlled space. These ships maintained peace through the simple expedient of being powerful enough to destroy any potential aggressor before they could threaten civilian populations. The human approach to peacekeeping was different from traditional galactic methods, but it was undeniably effective. Trade routes that had been plagued by pirates for millennia became safe overnight when human escort ships began accompanying merchant vessels. The pirates quickly discovered that attacking convoys, protected by human warships was an excellent way to achieve rapid and permanent career changes. Word spread quickly through criminal networks that human space was off-limits to all illegal activities. Diplomatic relations between species improved dramatically when every government understood that humanity was watching and prepared to intervene if conflicts escalated beyond acceptable limits. The threat of human military action was enough to encourage peaceful resolution of disputes that might have led to wars under the old system. Fear of overwhelming retaliation proved to be an excellent motivator for diplomatic cooperation. The Reformed Galactic Alliance established its headquarters aboard Mjolnir Station, where human military superiority served as a constant reminder of the new balance of power. Alien delegates who had once made decisions affecting billions of lives now found themselves seeking human approval for policies that might impact galactic security. The species that had waited for Earth to join their civilization discovered that Earth had instead taken control of it. Deep in space construction began on humanity's next project, which promised to revolutionize galactic civilization once again. The new installation would dwarf even Sol Station and would serve as the ultimate expression of human engineering and strategic planning. The galaxy would continue to change as humanity implemented their vision of how advanced civilizations should be organized and defended. The universe had waited for Earth to develop enough to join galactic society. Earth had arrived with firepower beyond measure and a determination to reshape the galaxy according to human principles. The old order was gone forever, and the new age of human dominance had only just begun.